that gets shifted due to a traumatic event. Either the wife asks for a divorce, or for my some of my brothers, and especially in this day and age, she passes on, and you're left here. How do you handle? How do you handle when life throws your balancing act off balance? How do you handle that? I remember I told y'all, growing up, or when I was younger, I listened to a lot of sermons. I listened to a lot of messages. And my mother kept us very heavily involved in the church, and especially myself. And I remember listening to a sermon by Bishop T.D. Jakes, right? And Bishop Jakes was talking about, there was a young man who was in his congregation, and he was ministering. He was, or something of that nature, and he began talking about the young man. Somehow or another, it came about, and then Bishop Jakes. I'll just tell you the way Bishop Jakes tells the story. Bishop Jakes says that through the course of conversation with this young man, he realized something had happened one day. This young man came home, and he smelled an odd smell, you know, and then he realized that the walls and everything were covered with blood and chunks of brain. The man's father, who had moved in with him, or either the boy had moved in, the man had moved in with his father, and he had come home from work, and he found that his father had blown his own brains out, right? Committed suicide. And the boy, the man, I keep calling him a boy, but he was a grown man, was just so shaken, right? That it just shook him to his core. And Jakes began to say he had so many questions for his own father, right? Questions that he wished he could have asked while his dad was alive, this, that, and the other. And he goes on to say, that many men, it's just like they're riding a motorcycle for most of us men. All of us men, right? We're riding and we're driving a motorcycle. And anybody who's ever ridden a motorcycle, it's not too dissimilar from riding a bike, although there are some pretty big differences. But anyway, it's all about balancing while you're on that bike, right? And when you go into a turn, you've got to lean into the turn. Otherwise, if you don't lean into the turn and you just try to turn normally, you know, it could cause some issues. Now, here's the thing about it. The faster you're going and the deeper the curve, the more severe the curve, the more you have to lean into it. We've all seen, I believe, the pictures of the guy who's on the speed motorcycle, and he's going into this deep curve, and it's like his knee is scraping the ground, and his body, like he's like leaning very heavily sideways. His knee is like scraping the ground, and all that, and because he's in a turn. And so many men in life, they've been hit with turns and curves, and they haven't known how to fully lean into those curves so that they can take the curve and make the curve. And they have been just, they've fallen off. They choose to exit because this curve was too dramatic. This curve was too severe. And there is a small window of correction for the motorcyclist when he's on his motorcycle and he's in that curve. There's a small window of correction. And anybody who really rides motorcycles will tell you, You got to keep a level head. You can't panic, right? You can't panic. You got to keep a level head. You got to, make the adjustment quickly. Otherwise, what can happen is, again, you fall off, right? You crash and burn, or you know what I mean? You crash. Burn seems a little bit harsh, but you know what I mean? And so there are so many of us brothers who we don't keep a level head. We don't make the necessary adjustment in enough time to be able to recover. And we've been knocked so far off course that it seems like there's no hope. It seems like there's no other option for us but for us to just give up. And many men, they may not commit actual suicide. They may not, put a gun to their head or slit their wrists or any of those, take some pills, any of those methods, right? Or any other method. But what they do is they pick up a bottle and they start drinking. And they don't stop drinking. They stay drunk most of the time because they couldn't handle the curve. There are men who they pick up a pipe, they pick up a rock, they stay high all the time because they could not handle the curve. It's a balancing act. And I know, again, I said this, I think, in every one of these episodes in this um month. I'm not just talking to men. Although this is for the men, I'm not just talking to us men. There are women out there who are struggling with the same thing. And I want to encourage us. I have to encourage us. We've got to learn how to balance. We've got to learn how to recover, keep a cool head, assess the situation, make the necessary adjustments. And my goal every week is to tie this whole year in, and I'm going back to mental health. Sometimes in order to make that adjustment to the curve, you've got to get some mental help. And then you say, well, I don't believe in all that. Listen, or I tried counseling and it didn't work for me. I heard somebody say it once before. I heard somebody else say it, and then I'm gonna keep on saying it until I think we all get it. Listen, therapy, counselors, right? Counselors in particular is not a uh, one size fits everybody. But a counselor, finding the right counselor, is like trying on shoes. I know I'm a size 17 shoe, so I have no business going try on a size 13 shoe, right? No business. It's not going to fit. I'm a 17, right? So I say all that to say, when it comes to counseling, find you somebody who fits you. Find somebody who works for you. If the first one ain't right, just cancel. Say, look, I'm not coming back. I'm gonna go find me somebody else and try different counselors till you find one that works with you, that works for you. We've got to do a better job of taking care of ourselves. Life throw you a curve in your health. Get you a doctor, right? Get you a nutritionist. Get you, you know what I'm saying? Start exercising. Do whatever it is that it's change your diet. That's why I say get a nutritionist. You know, we can adjust to the curves that life throws our way, but we've got to keep a level head. We cannot panic. If it means, hey, look, I got to start eating more vegetables. All right, I got to cut out, drinking all these sodas and these, whatever it is. Oh, they tell me my liver's messed up. I got to drink more water and I got to cut out the alcohol. Whatever it is. There is nothing. I want you to hear me on this, brothers. There is nothing, absolutely nothing that is thrown our way that we can't adjust to. There's absolutely nothing. Now, I get it. I get it. I get it. Sometimes some stuff we don't catch until it's too late. But do you recognize and realize that with prayer, getting your spiritual well being together, not a religion, not a ritual, a relationship, not saying, "Oh, I'm on somebody's church roll and I'm sitting in church every Sunday." That doesn't do anything. I'm gonna say it. I'm a preacher, pastor, been in a church my entire life, right? Or been in the church rather my entire life. I've sat in church, been mad, upset, angry, right? Been sitting in church, lusting. The devil can go to church and sit there too. And some of us have the devil inside of us. It's just a point blank period, you know? And we have to make sure that, listen, if you want to, we have to have relationship with Jesus, with God the Father, with Holy Spirit. When you have that relationship, that's why, when Adam messed up, because he had relationship, not a religion, not a ritual, right? When he messed up, God came walking in the cool of the garden saying, Adam, where art thou? Because he had relationship. That's why when David messed up, God sent the prophet and he said, listen, if you had asked for anything, God would have gave it to you. And David was able to go and repent and do better, right? It's still, the sword never left his bloodline, his house rather, because of his sins, right? When you have relationship, that's why what's his name? The king was able to turn toward the wall and begin to talk to God and tell God, look, hey, I'm sorry, this, that, and the other. And then the prophet had to turn around and go back and say, look, God added 15 more years. Relationship, not religion, not rituals, right? Going to church has become a ritual. And I'm encouraging you, if life has thrown you a curve, I dare you to stop worrying about ritual and religion and find a real relationship where you break down walls and barriers and you stop trying to be too macho and you just talk to your father. There's a balance to this. Being macho all the time is not a part of the balance. You've got to have some softness. You've got to allow yourself to be fathered by God, to be led by God, to be covered by God, right? I'm telling you. Listen, we've got to, as brothers, find that balance in life. Balance in our health and in our eating and in our living, balance in our finances. I didn't even get into financial stuff this year, right? But I guarantee you, you get all these other areas together, and everything else will start falling into place. The financial will start coming into place because you'll be able to hear God and understand what His plan and His vision is. So I want to encourage you. I want to encourage you. I've got to encourage you. There's a balance to this manhood that we all live in, brothers. And if we're going to balance our way through manhood, if we're going to balance our way in life, we have to learn how to handle the curve. When life throws you a curve, we've often heard when life throws you lemons, you make lemonade, right? Well, I'm encouraging you. When life throws you a curve, handle it, manage it, deal with it. Don't just give up partway through. Don't just surrender to the curve and say, take me. I'm done. That's it. It's too much. Can't handle it. No. If you're going to surrender, surrender to God. If you're going to give up your control and allow God to take control. It's so very important that we as men figure out the balance of manhood, and life will throw you curves. It's going to throw you curves, but you can balance even in a curve. I used to love to watch those guys on those fast motorcycles, right? Those speed break, whatever. Man, when they would be going and be the thing come, right? That's the sound of them when they passing by you. That's so. I used to love to watch that, but then I love when they go around them curves, and like I said, you see them going around the curve, and they all almost like it's like they're leaning in sync. Those who are there, and their knees be like scraping the ground almost, and they just like they manage it. They manage it. You too can manage your curves in life. You too can handle the curves in life, even if you were caught off guard by the curve. I'm here to tell you, all it takes is for you to keep a level head. Don't fly off the deep end. Don't act out of emotion. Don't listen. Stay balanced. Stay in control. Think. Listen. Pray your way through it. Build a relationship with God through it. It's assess the situation, evaluate, and then handle it. Handle it. Seek godly counsel. That's why I talk about or mention counseling. You can handle the curve. You can deal with the curve that life throws you. You don't have to give up. You don't have to quit. You can handle that curve. Bishop Jakes, as he closed that thing out, he was talking about the motorcycle, and he was like, brothers, we got to boom, 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 boom. And he started doing that, and he started getting the rest of the brothers to do it with him. Brothers, rev up your engines. Handle the curve. Sometimes you can't make the curve because you're going through it life too slow. You too. Yeah, you got to think. Oh, or you over rationalize or whatever. Look, just speed up a little bit. I'm trying to leave this thing alone, but sometimes you got to put a little bit more speed. Boom, 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 boom. Right? Add a little bit more speed, and you can make it through that curve. Sometimes you're going too fast. You just partying too much. You're doing way too much. Life threw you that curve. You were way unprepared. Slow down, brothers, and you'll make that curve. All right? All right. All right. I've got to wrap this up because I've got to get into all the news that you absolutely can use. And as we look at all the news you absolutely can use, right now it's 46 degrees outside. 54 is your high. 45 is your low. It's going to be a cloudy day, and although it is uh, 46, it feels more like 44. Your wind is blowing south at about 5 miles per hour, so it's a fairly calm day. It's cloudy. There's not really much chance for precipitation, although you are seeing little dots here and there on your windshield, possibly. Um, but let me also encourage you. It's going to warm up a little bit right now or today, not a whole lot. But tomorrow is when the freeze is expected to hit us, mainly in the evening hours. But I want to encourage you, don't get caught off guard. As we look at it, well, the temperature's going to rise. And then by midnight, we'll be in the 40s, 47 or somewhere thereabout. And then it'll start to warm up just a bit. But by the nighttime, that winter blast that is affecting most of the country will have hit us. All right, by evening time, it will have hit us. Your low for tomorrow is 19. It's going to be a partly cloudy day with a 20% chance of rain, which means, we could get some real freezing here. All right, make sure you're prepared. Friday, a high of 33, a low of 19. Going to be a sunny day, no rain in the forecast. And then Saturday, 38 is your high, 22 as your low. Sunny day, no rain in the forecast. Sunday, it'll be 43, 28 is your low. Mostly sunny day, no rain in the forecast. So we're going to be in these cold temperatures throughout Christmas. And let me just close out today's show by saying Merry Christmas to each and every one of you. Know that I love you. I thank God for you. I'm praying for you. So I want you to pray for somebody else because I just know that as we pray, God can and God will change things. Now, let's go ahead and join Reverend Al Sharpton, already in progress, with Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton right here on 93.5 KPPM, your community minded station. You be blessed, friends.
93.5 KPPM